So let's kick off with the first treaty principle bill. Sarah, was it comment? Hopefully Wayne will be in soon. If he's not, you're going to have to sit there and listen to my opinions, or you can type your comments and opinions into the chat comments there.
On two elements of the Treaty Principles Bill, which are insufficiently covered in the public submission. The first is, it is bad history. I'm reminded of Donald Trump, who there are deals done by very willing parties, but he rewrites the history and then insists that his view is to be imposed on the deal, irrespective, without consulting the party. So it's bad history. Our understanding of security has evolved and is evolving. Any statute, such as this bill, will fossilise that understanding, restricting its ongoing organic development. So it'd be better for the bill to proceed. Bills should not make history. My submission second point is the Court of Appeal stated a set of treaty principles in 1987. Those principles are foundational to social democracy, such as we are. It is critical that any statute of Parliament does not override nor downgrade those principles. And it would be good if Parliament was to simply acknowledge the Court of Appeal's principles. I'm happy to elaborate any aspect of my submission. And in case you've forgotten it, I have the
submission. Thank you, Brian. We do have copies of the submission.
I know, but I thought you might want to have the principles.
Good one. Okay, thank you for your opening submission. Thank you for being with us, given your recovering surgery. I'll hand over to the committee to ask some questions. Does anyone have any questions? We'll start with Todd Stevenson.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. Just looking at your submission, I want to make sure I understand this. So do you think that we should be legislating the Court of Appeal's principles?
No, I don't think it would be appropriate for Parliament to legislate the principles. It would be appropriate for Parliament to acknowledge them.
Right.
You've got other instruments. You've got other ways than just legislating.
Okay, and what do you think that would look like?
Well, I'm not an expert on parliamentary procedure, you are. It would be appropriate for members to mention in their speech, be appropriate in the report back to mention it, and it's not impossible that there's a procedure in Parliament which there would be a general acknowledgement of those principles.
Thank you, Todd. Thank you, Brian. I'll go to Steve.
Yeah, thank you for your submission. You speak about the evolution of our understanding of te tiriti and the value of that. Do you think there's been some commentary on the fact that part of our democracy is the judicial interpretation of law and judicial assertions made about what various intentions are? And do you agree with the assertion of the likes of lawyer Natalie Coates that that is actually an important part of our democracy, the judicial participation in understanding the meaning of our constitutional foundation, but also interpreting laws?
Yes, I think the rule of law is a fundamental part of democracy. And I think in my main submission, I comment that the courts themselves have evolved their account of what those principles are.
Yeah.
And I'm not uncomfortable with that. And if you don't particularly like a principle of the court, you're entitled to pass the bill. But on the whole, I wouldn't.
My follow-up, I guess, is that it's right for us to have a concern that determinations on the facts of history or the text of an actual document created in 1840, or even something such as rights, should be put to a majority determination, such as through referendum. Surely facts, history itself, and rights cannot be decided by referendum.
To go back to my Donald Trump example, he got a majority of the votes. That doesn't make his facts correct.
Thank you, Steve. And Brian, I just misunderstood what you were tabling. So we've received that copy of your statement that you made today, so we'll table that as a supplementary submission.
I just had a supplementary question in your answer to Mr. Abel. You said that if we didn't agree with the principles of the Court of Appeal, you do think it's within Parliament's prerogative to pass a law then to...
Well, you're doing that on the foreshore, aren't you?
Right. So I suppose I'm asking...
I don't rule it out.
Yeah.
And certainly on this particular matter, I would be appalled if you were to change the Court of Appeal rulings.
Right. But you don't think it's out of the question?
No, okay. It doesn't.
Thank you.
Thank you, Todd. Any further questions for Brian Tuck?
Kia ora, Brian. Tēnā koe your kōrero. Thank you for your submission. I've got a fairly simple one. You know, given we've got all these pieces in play, we've got the government, the judiciary, there's the Te Tiriti o Waitangi, there's the government and Māori, and then the Parliament and all of that. But just simply, do you think it is an okay approach or a good approach for Parliament to be creating bills to move through the government system about the Te Tiriti o Waitangi without having first spoken to their Te Tiriti partner, i.e. Te iwi Māori?
Well, it depends on the circumstances. But this particular bill completely reinterprets the treaty. Certainly it's not what people on the treaty grounds thought. It's not what generally people have thought over the time. And so that one No. On the other hand, I don't mind. It would depend on the circumstances.
Kia ora.
Thank you. Thank you, Brian. That appears to be all the questions. So we appreciate your time with us this afternoon and being with us for today. Thank you.
And I'd have to sit there and say, great to see Brian actually going all the way to Parliament to sit there and do that just after surgery. I mean, I found that particular submission quite informative. He definitely gave the committee a decent chance to actually ask questions and got a good variety of different questions across there. So, I mean, good on Brian for making that work. And I'd say one of the more positive submissions I've seen.
Thanks for watching. Make sure you're subscribed to our Facebook.